Como is reporting that several dozen people gathered at the Othello Light Rail Station last night to protest SPD after they shot an armed man. It was organized by a group with a title that tells you they're unserious partisan clowns, the Seattle Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. SARPR, I think is how you're supposed to say it, right? SARPR.
Doesn't really roll off the tongue.
No, SAARPR. They demanded that they reveal the identity of the victim and every single officer who's been involved because they have to know who to exploit and who to protest. One of the protesters said the man was shot not because he was armed, according to the police, but because of the color of his skin.
The police can justify his murder because he was black, homeless, and had mental health issues. What he needed was help.
I don't disagree that he needed help. Unfortunately, when you're waving a gun around, the help that might come is going to be a bullet. That's the unfortunate reality. I wish that weren't the case, and I believe every single cop who's listening, every single cop who's involved, wishes they didn't have to use force. You wave a gun around, you are a threat. Now, of course, these activists who will never, ever, ever acknowledge a cop using force did so with the right intent and for the right reasons. You put them in this position. Let's just send these activists to go help the people in need who are waving guns around or machetes and whatnot. Let's send them, see what happens. Send them, seriously. We'll see what happens. It is what it is. I mean, they seem to think that someone who's armed with a gun who poses a threat isn't actually a threat. They're kind of taking the Adam Smith view of drug smugglers who say, bringing drugs into this country, there's nothing wrong with that. Meh. Jonathan Toledo is with the group. He wants the cops to be fired.
We need to know who the officers were that shot him and endangered the entire community, because if we don't know, then they're just going to continue to shoot up more neighborhoods. They're going to endanger more people.
So what is the value in amplifying voices like this from Como's perspective? I'm asking that sincerely. I'm legitimately curious what value. The reporter is Tyler Cunningham or Cunnington? Tyler Cunnington. Don't know who that guy is.
I think he's relatively new.
Yeah, maybe. He might be great. He might not be. I don't know. But what's the value in talking to these people? They are irrational, unreasonable activists who aren't making any valid points. And of course, they're all wearing masks outdoors because they want to hide their identities. This is not any case of police brutality. There's not a single reasonable person who could look at this and say, even this was a controversial decision. Not even by Seattle standards. So you've got a bunch of irrational people who have been praying every day because they live empty lives. They've been saying, please, oh, please, God, let today be the day that a cop kills an armed person. I mean, we hope he's unarmed, and we hope it's just a cold-blooded murder, but just give us someone that we can pretend is a victim so we can villainize the cops. Please, please. They just waited, and they got it. And so they got together and said, now is our time. We've been called to duty. We've been called to action. We must protest these cops. Was there any voice in this clip that provided any balance to the lunacy?
No.
Okay.
It was eerily similar to a King 5 piece, which is not a compliment.
Yeah. Oh, no, you didn't have to add that last part. I think everyone knows at this point. But they did talk to a South Seattle native named Imijah, who says this story is disturbing to her as a mom.
A dozen shots with an assault rifle is overkill. My son was coming from school, and that...
By the way, if they used one bullet out of any firearm, her response would be the exact same thing. Okay? What an assault rifle. I like they just throw that term out. You do know you bring like weapons when a bad guy has a gun, right? Are we okay with that? Okay.
bothers me as a mother. We're already concerned about some of the stuff that's happening, crime. How are we going to feel safe with our police also?
Okay, you're an idiot. How about that? I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of hearing stupid things like this and pretending that that is some sort of rational comment that we're supposed to really take seriously. Oh, it's really thoughtful. You know, as a mother, she's really trying to think this through because, you know, I really feel sympathy for her. She's got kids, right? And she, you know, she's already dealing with crime. And now how is she supposed to feel comfortable when cops shoot a criminal? Oh, yeah. Why? Why? This is why I can't work in TV. Because after a comment like that, I would tell the cameraman, here, hand me the camera. And he'd give me the camera. And then I'd smash her over the head with it. And then I would be the bad guy.
I'm pretty sure I recognize this woman's name from other stories, too. So I think she's like an activist, basically.
Yeah, they're all activists, right? These were all protesters from some stupid group. She's absolutely an activist. Or according to her LinkedIn account, a savvy strategist. That's what she does. She looks to build capacity to transform racial inequities. That's what her account says. It sounds like she also has run for different offices before, but I guess they didn't want to put that in the article. What a stupid article and what a stupid feature. What a horrible report. Let's finish her dumb comments. You sense the theme. I'm in a mood.
I care about our city. I care about our communities. I really care about our families.
No, you really don't. You don't care about anything but yourself. You care about pursuing some sort of ideological agenda. I'm sorry. You can argue in certain cases where force is used, certainly when someone's unarmed. The guy was waving around a gun. You know, too bad he didn't just shoot someone. Hey, too bad he didn't shoot a kid. Because then what would the response be? I mean, oh no, she cares about the families too and kids too. This is so unbelievable. The cops did the right thing. They took out a threat. I wish it didn't have to happen. The cops don't want to have to shoot anybody. But you know what? I'd rather the guy waving the gun around be shot than the kid in the community. I guess that's a controversial position. They should have just, you know what? They should have put themselves in front of the man with the gun and just been target practice for him, because then he would have gotten all of his aggression out on those pigs and wouldn't have shot anybody else. That's really what they're upset about, is that a cop didn't get shot. And the sad part is, let's say they immediately go in and they try to, quote unquote, de-escalate, and one of the cops, God forbid, gets shot. They'll say, well, the cop should have done a better job of de-escalating. Local media is the worst. Seattle media in particularly is awful. Things get published and broadcast that shouldn't. And it's not because I disagree with like an opinion. People can have opinions all they want. This is not news. This is not newsworthy. This is not balanced. This is crap. This is absolute crap. And shame on everyone who had something to do with it. No balance whatsoever. I think there was one sentence in the story of the chief, Sean Barnes, backing the cops, essentially saying cops are put in really difficult scenarios in which they're asked to make a decision like within seconds. And when you got a guy with a gun being waved around, that's what happens.
It doesn't help that like all these people know about guns too, is like Jason Bourne movies, and they're like, why didn't you just shoot him in the foot?
Yeah, it's like, couldn't you shoot him in the hand and he would have dropped, or his pinky? Because, you know, if you shoot the pinky, that's going to, you know, loosen the grip.
It's like,
why couldn't you do it?
No, you aim at center mass.
These people, they don't like cops. That's it. And when dealing with people with that kind of conflict, with that kind of bias, we shouldn't be elevating their messaging or normalizing it.